Hey everyone, and welcome. So many businesses today face this massive challenge. They need to make smart, fast decisions. But the information they need, it's often locked away in a foreign language. Today, we're going to see how AI can just smash through that barrier and turn a really complex problem into crystal clear insight. So let's dive right in. So imagine this. This document lands on your desk. It's a super detailed real estate development brief, but it's all in Japanese. And somewhere, buried in all that text, are the key details you need to sign off on a multi-million-dollar investment. I mean, the risk of missing one tiny detail or misinterpreting something, it's just huge. Where would you even start? For this explainer, we're going to use a test case. We've got a development brief for a project proposed for the heart of Tokyo. This document is going to be the raw material for our AI analysis. And here it is. This is the actual input file the AI is going to read. And look, it's just a standard document. There's no special formatting, no processing, no tricks. It's exactly the kind of thing you'd get in a real-world email. Okay, a quick but really important disclaimer here. Just so we're all clear, to show you how this works, the brief we're using, the project site in Tokyo, and all the financial data, it's all completely made up. This is a simulation designed to show you the process, not to analyze a real-life project. So what's the actual goal here? Well, the brief lays out a plan to evaluate a mixed-use residential building right near a big Tokyo train station. The AI's job is to read this, understand the goal, and then pull out all the important constraints and variables to figure out the best way to develop this piece of land. All right, now for the really cool part, the transformation. This is where the AI gets to work. It's going to read all that Japanese text and turn that messy, unstructured language into a neat, structured set of parameters that we can actually use for financial modeling. And what does it find? In total, the AI identifies 54 key parameters that are needed to actually model this project. Yeah, 54 critical data points, all pulled from or inferred from that original Japanese document. So how in the world does it get to 54? Well, it finds 23 parameters that are literally written out in the text. But then, and this is the game changer, it intelligently assumes another 31. These are things like standard zoning rules or typical construction costs in Tokyo, stuff that an expert would know but that wouldn't necessarily be spelled out in a brief. And this table shows you exactly what I mean. The AI extracts the maximum height of 11 floors, because that was written right there in the text. It assumes something called the floor area ratio is 5.0, based on typical zoning for that area. And then for the land cost, which wasn't in the brief at all, it puts in a realistic number. And here's the really smart part. It flags it as a major assumption that a human expert needs to double-check. Okay, so with all that data locked in, the AI can now run simulations. It starts modeling different strategic approaches for the development, kind of creating these what-if scenarios to find the absolute best path forward. It comes up with 3 core strategies. The easiest way to think about it is like you're buying a car. Scheme A is your super efficient hybrid, focused on keeping costs as low as possible. Scheme B, that's the high-performance sports car, all about maximizing amenities and rent to get the highest possible revenue. And Scheme C is like that well-rounded SUV. It's a balanced approach, right between costs and fancy features. And that brings us to the climax of the whole analysis. The AI has done all the heavy lifting. I mean, the translation, the data extraction, the modeling, all of it. And now it presents the results in a way that lets you make a clear, fast, data-driven decision. So here's the main dashboard, and you can see the trade-offs immediately. For example, look at Scheme B, our sports car. It's got the highest construction cost, for sure, but it also delivers the most apartment units. Scheme A, our hybrid, has the lowest cost per unit. All the key numbers are right here, side by side. So simple. But if you want the ultimate at-a-glance comparison, this is it. This radar chart is basically a holistic scorecard. Each point on the chart represents a key goal, like cost efficiency, profit, unit count, and so on. The bigger and more balanced the shape, the better the overall proposal is. So let's break down what this spiderweb chart is actually telling us. Scheme A, in the blue, you can see it pushes way out on cost efficiency. Scheme B, in orange, is a rock star when it comes to amenity quality and yield. But Scheme C, the one in green, it doesn't have the single highest score anywhere, but look at it. It creates the most balanced, well-rounded shape overall. And what does that balanced approach get you? Well, it gets you a very strong result. Scheme C projects a gross yield of 3.8%. That's a solid, tangible return from a strategy that really does a great job of balancing all the competing priorities of the project. So let's zoom out for a second from this one Tokyo project and just look at the big picture. What does a capability like this really mean? It means you can go straight from a dense, unstructured document in pretty much any language to immediate, data-driven clarity. It's all about turning what used to be a barrier into a real advantage. So why does this matter? Well, this kind of technology completely breaks down language barriers, right? It lets companies look at opportunities anywhere in the world. It massively speeds up complex financial analysis that used to take weeks of work. And at the end of the day, it helps people make better, faster, and way more confident decisions by unlocking insights from data that used to be totally out of reach. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. In your work or in your industry, what information is currently locked away behind a language barrier? What critical decision could you finally make if that barrier just disappeared?